Hey, Jason here from Simply Swider. If your LG dishwasher isn't starting up at all or just sits there doing absolutely nothing, in this video I'll show you common troubleshooting steps that may help fix it. Good news is most of these problems are way simpler than you think. Before we get started, if you run into any questions, jump into our Facebook group, links in the description. We've got thousands of people helping each other fix their appliances, and I pop in there daily to help out. All right, here's what's really happening behind the scenes when your LG dishwasher won't start. Most people think the computer died or the motor went bad, but that's usually not the case. What we're really dealing with is either a triggered safety feature, a door latch problem, or something called a noise filter that's blown its fuse. Here's the thing. LG dishwashers can be quite sensitive to power spikes and moisture, which often causes many of these startup failures. Real world breakdown. Control lock issues are the biggest one, door latch problems are next. Then the noise filter situation shows up pretty regularly, and moisture damage to the control panel happens more than you'd think. Main control board failures, those are actually the least common, even though that's what most people assume first. I like to think of your dishwasher as having four main systems: the control buttons up top, the door safety locks, the power components down below, and the main computer brain. When your dishwasher won't start, the problem is often in one of these four common areas. We'll check them in order from quickest to hardest, starting with the most common fixes first. So let's start with the most common culprit, the control lock feature. I had this customer last month call me in a panic because her dishwasher just stopped working completely. Turns out her toddler had been playing with the buttons and activated the child lock. Here's what happens. The display shows CL, or you'll see a little lock icon, and when you press any buttons, they'll chime, but nothing responds. The dishwasher thinks you don't want it to start, so it won't. Don't ask me how many times I've driven out to a house just to hold down two buttons for 5 seconds. To fix this, you're going to press and hold the designated button combination. Usually it's dual zone and half load together, or rinse and spray, depending on your model. Hold them down for about 3 to 5 seconds until that lock icon disappears. If the CL code is still there after trying this, unplug the dishwasher for about 5 minutes to do a hard reset. That should clear it right up. Next up is the door latch. This is a common cause of startup problems I see. Here's what's actually happening. The latch has these micro switches inside that tell the control board, hey, the door is closed and locked, it's safe to start. When that latch breaks, those switches don't make contact anymore. You'll know this is your problem because the door feels loose when you close it, or it
Clearance for the
doesn't make that
striker
solid
and
click
insert
sound.
it through the
The
opening.
dishwasher might power
Then
on
push
just
the
fine, but
latch
when you
back
hit
in
start,
place.
it'll just beep at you, or the timer will count down 4, 3, 2, 1 over and over again. I remember this lady who kept telling me her start button was broken. Turned out the start button was working perfectly, but the control board was waiting for that door close signal that never came. To test this, and this takes about 2 minutes, grab your multimeter and set it to continuity mode. Touch the probes to the door switch terminals and manually press the latch mechanism. You should hear a beep or see 0 ohms when the switch closes. No beep means your latch is dead. If you see broken plastic hooks or tabs on the latch, that's your smoking gun. This one's going to need replacement. About 78 bucks for the part. Way cheaper than the 250 a repair guy would charge you. Now here's where it gets interesting. The noise filter. This is something specific to LG dishwashers that trips up a lot of people.
Next,
It's
disconnect the
this
two
little
wire
box
connectors
located
from
at
the
the
noise
bottom right
filter.
behind the kick plate, and it's got a built-in fuse that's designed to blow during power surges to protect your expensive main control board. When this fuse blows, your dishwasher is completely dead. No lights, no sounds, nothing. You test the wall outlet and it's got power, so you immediately think the main computer board died. But here's the thing, that noise filter sits between the wall plug and the control board. So if its fuse is blown, no power gets through. I've seen people spend 400 bucks on a new control board when they needed a $40 noise filter. Important safety note, make sure your dishwasher is plugged in but turned off for this test. Using your multimeter on the AC voltage setting, carefully check for 120 volts going into the noise filter and coming out of it. If you're not comfortable working around live electricity, skip this test and call a pro. If you've got 120 going in but zero coming out, that filter is toast. This happens because LG dishwashers are really sensitive to voltage spikes, way more than other brands. This design may protect the main board, but could contribute to misdiagnosis in some cases. All right, so another common issue is moisture getting into the control panel. This one's frustrating because it's kind of a design weakness on certain LG models. Here's what happens. Steam escapes from the dishwasher vent, or you spray too much cleaner on the control panel and water gets behind the buttons. Once moisture is in there, your dishwasher starts acting haunted. Lights flicker randomly, it beeps for no reason, or it might even start washing dishes at 3 a.m. like it's got a mind of its own. I had this guy call me because his dishwasher kept starting at 3 in the morning. Turned out moisture was causing ghost signals in the control panel. You can sometimes temporarily fix this by drying out the board with a hair dryer, but that's just buying you time. The permanent fix is replacing the control panel assembly, which runs about 150 bucks or more. Here's where most people mess up. They see crazy lights and assume it's the main control board. If the lights are acting weird, it could be the user interface, but first check for power issues, child lock, or main control board problems. Now let's talk about the main control board, the actual brain of the operation. Power supply issues are among the most common causes of startup problems, though door latch and control panel issues also frequently prevent LG dishwashers from starting. The control board can fail from burnt relays, solder joint problems, or short circuits from other failed components. You'll know it's the board if you see actual burn marks on it, or if 120 volts is getting to the board, but it's not sending power to the display or other components. Here's the thing though, don't assume it's the board before you've checked that noise filter and thermal fuse. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people replace a $200 control board when the real problem was a $25 thermal fuse. If you do need to replace the board, make sure you get the exact right part number. LG boards are really specific to the model and suffix. Install the wrong one and you'll get communication errors that'll drive you crazy. The door latch assembly, you're looking at about 78 bucks for the part. This one's pretty straightforward to replace if you're comfortable removing the front door panel with some Torx or Phillips screws. The hardest part is usually identifying the correct wiring harness connections, but most of them are keyed, so you can't plug them in wrong. If your dishwasher is less than 8 years old, this repair makes total sense. Way cheaper than calling someone like me to do it for 250. The noise filter runs between 30 and 60 bucks depending on your model. Here's the thing about this repair. It's cheap and saves you from an expensive misdiagnosis, but you need to be comfortable working with a live 120-volt electricity to test it properly. If you've got a multimeter and know how to use it safely, this is a great DIY fix. If not, don't be a hero. Electrical work can bite you if you're not careful. Thermal fuse is usually about 25 bucks and often comes with the harness. Super easy replacement once you locate it. Just unplug the old one and plug in the new one. The tricky part is finding it on your specific model because the location varies. Check your service manual or schematic if you've got one. Control panel replacement is where it starts getting pricey. You're looking at 150 bucks and up. The repair itself isn't too bad if you can handle ribbon cables without tearing them, but here's the catch. If moisture killed your original panel, you need to figure out why. Sometimes it's just aggressive cleaning, other times there's a design issue with the steam vent. Addressing the root cause helps prevent the same problem from recurring and extends the dishwasher's operational lifespan. Main control board is the big ticket item, anywhere from 150 to 250 depending on your model. Here's my rule of thumb. If your dishwasher is over 8 years old and needs a new control board, start thinking about replacement instead of repair. And remember, these boards are super model specific. Double check that part number before you order because returning the wrong board is a hassle. Now let's talk money. Here's what these parts actually cost and which repairs make sense to do yourself versus calling a pro. I'll give you the straight truth on repair costs so you can decide if it's worth fixing or time to shop for a new dishwasher. Now, before we wrap up, you can see right there on your screen the most common LG models that have these startup issues. The LDF 5545 ST and other LDF series can be prone to that moisture problem I mentioned. Steam often gets into the control panel and may cause various unusual behaviors depending on the model. The LDT series has similar issues. You might spot your model number up there and think, yep, that's exactly what mine is doing. Don't worry though, now you know what to look for and how to fix it. Here's your step-by-step checklist. First, check for control lock. Hold those two buttons for 5 seconds. Second, test your door latch for that solid click sound. Third, if you're comfortable with electrical work, test that noise filter with your multimeter. Fourth, look for moisture damage in the control panel. And finally, check the thermal fuse and main control board. Start at the top and work your way down. Many of you will often find your answer in the first three steps. Most of the time, it's going to be something simple and cheap rather than that expensive control board. Remember, if your unit is older and needs major components, it might be time to start shopping for a replacement. If you guys know someone who's having appliance troubles, please send them the link to this video or a link to my channel where I have tons of other videos showing how to fix pretty common issues with appliances, sometimes for free or as little cost as possible. It sure beats having a repairman come out and spending several hundred for them to fix it when it could be something so simple. If this helped you get your dishwasher working again, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Let me know which fix worked for you. Really helps other people with the same problem. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We'll get this out to more folks who need to save some time and money. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.